Something is stirring beneath the surface this July, and if you can feel it, you're not alone. An undeniable shift is underway, a quiet yet powerful movement awakening people across the globe to something deeper and more authentic within themselves. Have you noticed that familiar restlessness, that sensation of standing on the threshold of something important? July 2025 isn't just another page on the calendar. It carries an energetic frequency, calling each of us to step beyond our comfort zones and into a new version of who we're meant to become. If you know where to look, the signs are everywhere. Maybe you've started questioning old habits that suddenly feel out of place. Perhaps you catch yourself daydreaming about possibilities you never seriously considered before. Or emotions you thought were long resolved might be resurfacing out of nowhere. What's happening now goes far beyond surface-level changes. This is a profound cellular transformation occurring whether we consciously participate or not. Those who recognize it and choose to work with these energies instead of against them will find themselves surfing a powerful wave of personal evolution. This month offers a rare opportunity to align with the natural cycles of growth and renewal, taking place on both personal and collective levels. The question isn't whether change is coming. It's whether you're ready to embrace it consciously and use it to become the person you've always known you could be. The July shift is bigger than most people realize, and understanding how to navigate it can change everything about how you approach the rest of the year and beyond. Before we dive deeper, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you're ready to embrace this potent July transformation and step into your highest self, drop a comment that says, "I'm ready for the July transformation." Right now, millions of people around the world are experiencing something they can't quite put into words. It's that persistent inner voice, whispering that the time for something more, something different, something authentic has arrived. Have you felt that inner stirring, that restless energy refusing to let you settle for the status quo? This inner call isn't random, it's purposeful. July brings a frequency that naturally awakens dormant aspects of our consciousness, parts of ourselves that have been patiently waiting for the right moment to emerge. This awakening doesn't happen overnight, but once it starts, you can't miss the feeling. It's like coming alive in a way you didn't even realize you'd been asleep. The urgency you might be feeling isn't anxiety, it's activation. Your deeper self recognizes that this is a pivotal moment, a window of opportunity that won't stay open forever. It's not about making dramatic external changes right away. Instead, it's about acknowledging that something fundamental inside you is shifting and demanding your attention. Many people try to ignore this call because it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. They suppress it, distract themselves, or convince themselves they imagined it. But the more we resist, the stronger the call becomes. The energy building this month is too powerful to repress indefinitely. What makes this awakening different from other times you've felt motivated to change is its depth. This isn't a fleeting spark of inspiration that fades after a few days. It's a cellular awakening rewiring your nervous system and realigning your entire being with a higher version of yourself that's waiting to be born. The beauty of this process is that you don't need all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly where this awakening is leading or what your life will look like on the other side of this transformation. What you do need is the willingness to listen when that inner voice speaks, and the courage to take the first step, even when you can't see the entire staircase. The awakening is happening whether you consciously participate or not, but those who lean into it instead of resisting will move through this transformation with far greater ease and clarity. The key is to realize that this inner call isn't disrupting your life. It's trying to rescue it from the ordinary and steer it toward your true purpose. Transformation always requires making room for something new, and that means releasing what no longer serves your highest good. Have you noticed how certain patterns, relationships, or ways of thinking have suddenly started to feel heavy or outdated? July creates the perfect energetic landscape for conscious release. It's not about forcing change or aggressively severing ties with everything familiar. It's about developing the awareness to distinguish what aligns with who you're becoming from what belongs to who you used to think you were. Habits that once felt comfortable may now feel restrictive. Thoughts that once seemed normal may now feel limiting. Relationships that once brought you joy may now feel draining. This isn't a judgment on those things or people. It's simply an acknowledgement that you've outgrown what once contained you. One of the toughest aspects of this release is that it often involves letting go of things that aren't necessarily bad or wrong. Sometimes we have to let go of good things to make space for great things. A job that pays well but leaves you unfulfilled. A relationship that's comfortable but doesn't challenge you to grow. Beliefs about yourself that keep you small and safe, but prevent you from reaching your full potential. The resistance you feel around letting go is natural and expected. Your nervous system is designed to keep you safe, and from its perspective, anything familiar, even if it keeps you stuck, feels safe. That's why the release process requires both self-compassion and determination to move forward despite the discomfort. What helps at this stage is realizing you're not losing anything real. You're simply outgrowing containers that were perfect for who you once were, but are now too small for who you're becoming. A butterfly doesn't mourn the loss of its caterpillar form. It celebrates its transformation into something that can fly. The emotional turbulence that often accompanies this release isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's evidence that something very right is happening. As old patterns dissolve and new ones form, temporary instability is inevitable. This is the gap between who you've been and who you're becoming. And while it can feel uncomfortable, it's where all the magic happens. Trust that what needs to leave your life will leave, what needs to stay will stay, and what needs to arrive will find you once you create space for it. In times of deep transformation, nothing is more important than your ability to anchor yourself in the present moment. When everything around you feels like it's shifting, presence becomes your refuge and your compass. Have you noticed how differently you perceive your circumstances when you're fully here, compared to when your mind is scattered between past regrets and future worries? The entire transformation actually happens in the now. The past is over and unchangeable, and the future exists only as potential. Right here, right now, you have access to infinite possibilities and the power to choose which reality you step into. The energy of this month can feel overwhelming if you try to process everything all at once, or project too far into the future. Your mind may want to analyze every sensation, predict every outcome, and control every variable. But transformation doesn't work that way. It unfolds organically when you give it space to breathe. Presence allows you to notice subtle shifts within before they become obvious to everyone else. It helps you discern the difference between fear-based thoughts that aim to keep you small and intuitive guidance that urges you to expand. Without presence, these signals blur into confusion and paralysis. When you anchor yourself in the now, you become more responsive and less reactive. Challenges arise, but instead of automatically defaulting to old patterns, you create space to choose a different response, one aligned not with who you were, but with who you are becoming. Practicing presence isn't about perfection or constant meditation. It's about noticing when your attention drifts and gently bringing it back to this moment. Every time you do, you strengthen your capacity to navigate transformation with grace and wisdom, rather than resistance and fear. This July transformation becomes even more powerful when you learn how to work with your mind instead of against it. Joe Dispenza has shown that true change occurs when we align our thoughts and emotions with a new inner reality, creating a coherent signal that begins to reshape our entire life experience. What if the restlessness and awakening you're feeling right now is actually your brain preparing itself for a complete reprogramming? Your brain constantly forms new neural pathways based on what you repeatedly think, feel, and experience. Most people unknowingly reinforce the same patterns day after day, trapping themselves in familiar cycles, even when those cycles no longer serve them. But July's energy creates an optimal environment for breaking those automatic patterns and installing new ones that match your evolving consciousness. The key to successful reprogramming is understanding that your brain can't tell the difference between a vivid mental experience and a real physical one. When you repeatedly visualize yourself living as the person you want to be, feeling the emotions that version of you would feel, and making the choices they would make, your brain begins to wire itself as though that reality is already your experience. This isn't wishful thinking or fantasy. It's strategic neuroplasticity. You're literally forming new neural networks that support different behaviors, emotional responses, and perceptions of yourself and your possibilities. The more consistent you are with this practice, the more automatic these new pathways become. What makes this month especially potent for mental reprogramming is that the energy around us is already disrupting old patterns. Rather than fighting to maintain familiar neural routes, your brain is naturally more open to change and adaptation. It's like trying to renovate a house during an earthquake. The existing structure is already unstable, making it easier to rebuild from scratch. The emotional component of this reprogramming can't be ignored. Elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, inspiration, love, carry much higher frequencies than survival emotions like fear, anger, and resentment. When you combine clear mental images of the future you desire with elevated emotions, you create a powerful electromagnetic signature that begins drawing experiences that match that frequency. Many people sabotage their transformations by thinking new thoughts while feeling old emotions, or by feeling elevated emotions while repeating the same limiting thoughts. True reprogramming requires coherence between what you think and what you feel. When your mind and heart align around a new possibility, change becomes inevitable rather than hopeful. The practice demands patience and consistency, but the results compound over time. Each day, you choose to think and feel differently from the day before. You gain momentum toward a new version of yourself. And within July's energetic climate, that momentum can accelerate in ways that surprise and delight you. The question isn't whether your mind can be reprogrammed. Neuroscience has proved it's possible. The question is whether you're willing to become conscious of the process and steer it deliberately toward the life you want to live. The intense emotions you've been experiencing aren't signs that something's going wrong. They're evidence that something very right is happening. As new aspects of yourself try to emerge, old patterns don't go quietly. Have you noticed that transformation often feels chaotic before it feels peaceful? This emotional turbulence is like the static you hear on a radio when you switch from one station to another. There's interference and noise for a brief moment while you move between frequencies. The same thing happens in your emotional body when you shift from one level of consciousness to another. Old feelings you thought you'd processed might resurface unexpectedly. Fears you believed you'd conquered can suddenly feel vivid again. Anger, sadness, or confusion may appear without visible triggers. This isn't regression, it's integration. Your system is clearing emotional residue that doesn't match your new frequency. When these moments arise, the important thing is to resist the urge to suppress or judge the emotions. Instead, allow them to move through you without getting caught up in the stories they want to tell. Emotions are energy in motion, and when you let them flow, rather than forcing them to stay stuck, they complete their cycle naturally and move on. What feels overwhelming in the moment is often just your system making quick adjustments. Just as your muscles can ache after a good workout because they're adapting to new demands, your emotional body can feel tender as it expands to hold more of who you are becoming. The intensity will pass, but the expansion it creates is permanent. Every wave of emotional turbulence you ride with awareness and compassion, increases your capacity to hold higher frequencies of joy, love, and creative expression. You're not falling apart. You're coming together in a new, more authentic way. As you begin aligning with higher frequencies of consciousness, something extraordinary happens. Your intuitive abilities naturally expand, and your sense of purpose becomes crystal clear. Have you noticed how decisions that once required endless mental analysis now feel obvious once you listen to your inner wisdom? This sharpening of intuition isn't mystical or magical. It's practical intelligence operating at a higher level. When your thinking is no longer clouded by survival-based emotions and reactivity, you gain access to information that was always present but previously hidden. Intuition works best when it's least interfered with by fear, doubt, and mental noise. Many people dismiss their intuitive insights because they seem too simple or lack a logical explanation. But intuition doesn't need to make sense to your analytical mind. It only needs to feel right in your body. That sudden knowing of which direction to take, that gut feeling about a person or situation, that spontaneous idea that excites you for no rational reason. These are all forms of intelligence operating beyond linear thinking. July's energy amplifies this intuitive capacity because the veils between your conscious mind and deeper wisdom are naturally thinner right now. Information usually stored in the subconscious becomes more easily accessible to conscious awareness. Dreams become more vivid and meaningful. Synchronicities increase in both frequency and significance. Random encounters begin to feel divinely orchestrated. During this period, your sense of purpose also becomes more pronounced, though it might not arrive in the way you expect. Instead of receiving a detailed plan for your entire life path, you may gain clarity about the next step, the next project, or the next stage of your evolution. This clarity often comes with a deep sense of rightness that transcends logical reasoning. The challenge many people face is trusting this inner guidance, even when it contradicts external expectations or conventional wisdom. Your purpose isn't dictated by what others think you should do, or by what seems most practical from a limited perspective. Your purpose emerges at the intersection of your unique talents, deepest values, and the genuine needs of the world. The more you honor and act on your intuitive insights, the stronger and more reliable they become. Each time you choose inner wisdom over external pressure, you strengthen your connection to the intelligence guiding your highest good. This isn't about being impractical or ignoring important details. It's about leading with wisdom instead of fear. The changes you're experiencing this month aren't just emotional or psychological. They're measurable shifts occurring at the cellular and energetic levels of your being. Joe Dispenza's extensive research shows that when we truly change our thoughts and emotions, we literally alter our biology, our brain structure, and our electromagnetic field in scientifically documented ways. Every time you choose a thought different from your habitual patterns, you create new neural pathways in your brain. When you sustain elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or love, you shift the electromagnetic field of your heart, an influence thousands of times stronger than that of the brain, and powerful enough to affect every cell in your body. These aren't just feel-good concepts, they're measurable biological realities. The energy you feel this July is actually facilitating these changes at an accelerated rate. Your nervous system is naturally more plastic and adaptable right now, meaning new neural pathways form more easily, and old patterns dissolve more readily. Cellular renewal that would normally take months can occur in weeks when you work with these heightened energetic conditions. What's particularly fascinating is how these internal changes begin to influence your external reality. As your electromagnetic field shifts to match your new inner state, you literally start attracting different people, opportunities, and experiences into your life. This isn't mysticism, it's quantum physics. You're broadcasting a different signal, and the universe responds with experiences matching that frequency. The coherence developing between your heart and brain during authentic transformation creates what scientists describe as a highly ordered electromagnetic field. This field carries information that influences not only your own biology, but also the people and environments around you. Simply by sustaining inner coherence and elevated emotions, you generate a positive effect. One of the most striking aspects of this science is how quickly changes occur when you're consistent in your practice. Brain scans show measurable differences in neural activity after just a few days of focused meditation and elevated emotional states. Gene expression begins to shift within hours of sustained positive emotions. Your immune system strengthens, stress hormones decrease, and your capacity for learning and creativity expands. July's energy offers ideal conditions for these transformations because the global field itself currently supports higher consciousness. It's like tuning a radio when atmospheric conditions are perfect. The signal comes through much more clearly with less effort on your part. The key is realizing that transformation isn't about changing your circumstances directly. It's about changing yourself at such a fundamental level that your circumstances have no choice but to reorganize to match your new frequency. When you embody the energy of the person you want to be, you don't have to chase your goals. They start looking for you. Science removes the mystery and doubt from the process of transformation. You're not hoping for magic. You're applying principles that work as reliably as any other law of nature once you understand how to use them correctly. With all this powerful energy moving through your system, it's crucial to establish a stable foundation for integrating these changes gracefully. Think of grounding practices as roots that let you grow higher without toppling when the winds of transformation pick up speed. How often do you pause to reconnect with simple balancing rhythms that keep you centered? Conscious breathing may be the most accessible grounding tool you have at any moment. When you feel overwhelmed by the intensity of change, directing your attention to slow, deep breaths instantly activates your parasympathetic nervous system and returns you to a calm state of awareness. This isn't just relaxation. It actively supports your nervous system's ability to integrate new experiences without overload. Consistent daily routines provide external stability while your inner world reorganizes itself. That could mean regular sleep and wake times, consciously prepared nourishing meals, or physical movement that reunites you with your body's wisdom. These seemingly simple practices become anchors that help you maintain your center while everything around you shifts. Spending time in nature offers another powerful form of grounding often overlooked in our increasingly digital world. The Earth's electromagnetic field naturally helps regulate your own, bringing you into alignment with broader natural rhythms. Even a few minutes outside with your feet on the ground can significantly reset your energy and perspective. Meditation or quiet reflection creates space for processing the influx of new information and insights you're receiving. You don't need formal training or special techniques. Simply sitting in silence and allowing your mind to settle naturally is enough to support integration and maintain clarity. The goal isn't to slow your transformation, but to create a stable container capable of holding all the power emerging within you. When you're grounded, change feels exciting rather than overwhelming, and growth feels sustainable rather than exhausting. One of the most challenging yet liberating aspects of this July transformation is learning to trust a process that doesn't follow your mental timeline or logical expectations. Real growth rarely unfolds in neat, predictable stages, and the deepest changes often happen in ways you could never plan. Are you willing to release your need to control how your evolution unfolds? Trust isn't passive acceptance or blind belief in circumstances beyond your influence. It's developing confidence in your capacity to meet whatever arises with wisdom and grace. It's believing that the same intelligence coordinating billions of biological processes in your body, without your conscious input, also orchestrates your spiritual and emotional growth with perfect timing. The mind wants guarantees, roadmaps, and definite outcomes before it agrees to progress. But transformation doesn't work that way. It requires stepping into uncertainty with an open heart and the willingness to discover who you are in the process of becoming. True courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. When doubt creeps in, remember, you don't need to see the whole path to take the next step. Every moment of authentic choice, each decision made from love instead of fear, each commitment to growth instead of comfort, creates momentum, launching you toward outcomes beyond your current imagination. The resistance you encounter isn't your enemy. It's information. It shows you where you're still attached to outcomes, where you're forcing solutions, where you're operating from old programming rather than new possibilities. When you meet resistance with curiosity instead of frustration, it becomes a valuable guide rather than an obstacle. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning your dreams or forfeiting your goals. It means maintaining clear intention about what you want to experience, while releasing your attachment to how those dreams will manifest. When you hold your desires lightly, they have room to evolve into forms that serve your highest good in ways you might never have envisioned. The universe often has bigger plans for you than you have for yourself, but those plans can only unfold when you leave space for possibilities beyond your current understanding. That requires a willingness to be surprised, to welcome the unexpected, and to trust that what looks like a detour might actually be a shortcut to something magnificent. The transformation happening now is bigger than your personality's preferences and fears. It's connected to larger evolutionary cycles, affecting countless individuals who are also ready to step into greater authenticity and purpose. When you trust this process, you align yourself with forces far more powerful and intelligent than resistance could ever be. July 2025 offers you something extraordinary, a doorway into a version of yourself that has been patiently waiting for this moment to emerge. The changes you're feeling aren't random events or temporary disruptions in your normal life. They're invitations to participate consciously in your own evolution and to step into a reality more aligned with your authentic nature. The choice before you is simple, though not easy. You can resist these shifts and try to maintain familiar patterns that no longer match who you are. Or you can embrace this transformation with open arms and discover what's possible when you flow with the natural currents of your growth. That decision will determine whether you experience this month as turbulent upheaval or as the most liberating period of your life. Those who choose to work with these energies rather than against them will emerge from this time deeply changed, more connected to their intuition, more aligned with their purpose, and better equipped to create lives that truly reflect their deepest values and highest aspirations. They will uncover strengths they didn't realize they possessed and possibilities they never dared to imagine. The ripple effects of this transformation extend far beyond your personal experience. When you step into your authentic power, you give others permission to do the same. When you release old limitations, you help dissolve the collective patterns that hold humanity back. Your individual awakening contributes to the broader shift in consciousness our world so urgently needs right now. Remember, this transformation doesn't require you to figure everything out before you begin. It doesn't demand perfection or complete understanding. What it asks is that you stay open, remain curious, and trust that each step will reveal the next when the time is right. The July shift is indeed bigger than most people imagine, but its true power lies not in its magnitude, but in your willingness to meet it with awareness, courage, and trust. Your transformed life isn't a distant possibility. It's an emerging reality becoming more tangible with every conscious choice you make. Each moment you choose growth over comfort, love over fear, authenticity over conformity. You gain momentum toward a future that surpasses your current imagination. The seeds of your new reality have already been planted within you, and July's energy provides the perfect conditions for them to sprout and thrive. The question isn't whether this transformation is ready for you. It is. The question is what becomes possible from this moment forward once you realize that. And that changes everything.